Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Green. We're in Unit 3 of Algebra 1, and we're looking at Lesson 4, and Lesson 4 deals with multiplying. So, when you multiply any given number by 1, the results stay the same, right? So, 1 is the identity element for multiplication. It results in a product that is the same as the original number. This property is called the multiplicative identity, or multiplying by 1, right? Okay, well, we're going to look at some examples of that in a second. So when I take 5 times 3, we're going to get 15, right? I mean, you know your multiplication tables for the most part. 6 times 1 gives you a 6. There's that identity, right? X times 1 gives you X. Do I have to put the 1 in front of it? No, you do not. That's kind of implied. If I needed to have 1X, I can use it, but there's not necessary to put that there. So 1 times n gives you m, or 1m, right? It's the same thing. Okay, nothing new here. This should have been just review for you. You shouldn't have to even have thought about that. The issue comes up when we start dealing with negatives. When you multiply a negative, it changes the sign. So when I'm multiplying two positive numbers, no problem. You know that multiplication. If I make one of them negative, though, a positive times a negative results in a negative number. A negative times a positive results in a negative number. Two negatives times each other give you a positive number. Wait a second. Did I just say that? If I have double negatives, yes, double negatives in math do occur. When you see them, you you do not change the sign, or you change the sign twice. So it goes from a negative times a positive, gives you a negative number, but you change it to, if it's a negative times a negative, it's a negative negative or a positive number. So negative 3 times negative 4 gives you a positive 12. That's the way the math works out. And it makes it easy for you to remember that sort of stuff. Okay? Now, generally speaking, if there is an odd number of negative signs, then your answer is going to be negative. If there's an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. So let's think about that for a second. If I have negative 3 times negative 4 times negative 7 times negative 2 times negative 12, what's my answer going to be? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. I know my answer is going to be negative. I can now take that out of the equation. I do not have to think about that any longer. I can just start thinking about 3 times 4 is 12, 7 times 2 is 14, 12 times 12 is 144, so I got 144 times 7, and 144 times 7, that's 8, carry your 2, that's 28 times 30, carry your 3, and 7 and 3 is 10, that's 1008. So guess what? 1008 would be my answer. Negative 1008. Now, do we have to do this in our head? No. That's what these little devices right here are for. Negative 3 times negative 4 times negative 7 times negative 2 times negative 12. Okay, got them all in there, and I hit enter, and it gives me that negative 216. Whoops, what did I do wrong here? Let's see here. That's 12. That's what it was. Sometimes 7 is times 14 times 2, 2016. Boop, negative 2016. Because 12 times 12 is 144, then I've got 14 here. I left the 2 off of it. So that's where that comes from. Guess what? I just proved the value of that device right there, haven't I? It's important to know how to use a calculator and to use it. Can we use a calculator in Algebra 1? The answer is yes. Algebra 1, at the end of the course, you're going to be taking a test called the EOC, End of Course Test. You will have a calculator there to use. It will be very similar to this one. This is a TI-84. You will have a TI-83 probably there to take. You do not have to supply one. You do not have to bring it. The site will provide it for you. Okay? When you get this calculator, knowing how to use it is important. Do I use it to do the algebra? No, as you noticed right here, all I did was check my number, saw that I had multiplied it wrong, went back and checked my number again, saw what I did wrong, and then used the number I got. The main point of the slide was to show you odd number of negatives give you a negative sign, give you a negative value, and look what I got when I multiplied these out. I got a negative 216. Got a negative. So I proved the value of using the calculator. Calculator will help you, and you may use it. You notice that there was one in the in the beginning sections of the course you can download. If you have any problems with it, let me know. I can help you with it. We can get through it. Okay. The most frequently missed item on any math test in algebra is the sign. SIGN. It's either positive or negative, right? Most frequently, they do the math correct. They run it through a calculator and it equals the number they think they get. But they'll miss the sign. Dropping a sign or not getting the correct sign is very frustrating. Okay? Make certain you take time to count your negatives when you're multiplying. And make certain you get the right sign when you're at the end. Okay? A lot of people miss questions there, and I don't want you being one of those people. Okay? Now, I want to point out something about the calculator because you need to know this before we get going here. Okay? If I say minus 6 and hit enter, that was subtracting 6. That is a minus sign. This one down here is a negative sign. Negative 6. The difference between that one and this one, clear. I don't want to do that. I want to do minus. No, I don't want to do that. 0, minus 6. The difference between these is very, very difficult to tell. See that one and that one? This minus sign and that negative sign? Very difficult to tell. But if you're trying to use a negative number, you need to use this key right down here. If you're trying to do a minus, you need to use this one here. So let's see here. Let's see here, clear. If I say 0 minus a negative 6, you can see the difference right there when they're right next to each other, right? This should give me a positive 6 because I've got two negative signs together. But you need to make certain that you're getting this as the negative and this one as the minus. It will make a difference. Calculators do not respond well when they're given bad information. They give you bad information back. They're only as smart as the user using them sometimes. So I will be showing you some things about this calculator that you will need to know before you go take the EOC. It'll be embedded in these courses or in my Class Connects. You need to come and watch them. Any other questions you got, bring them to Class Connect, bring them to tutoring. I'll be glad to try to help you with them. Okay? Cool. I look forward to seeing you.